welcome to the Kokomo Lantern's first video interview. I'm Patrick Muncie, publisher of the Kokomo Lantern, and with me today is Harold Vincent, retired Howard County Sheriff's Deputy, former jail commander, and now running for Howard County Sheriff on the Republican ticket. He'll face incumbent Jerry Asher this spring in May. Welcome to the interview.
Very nice to be here.
So we'll just get right into it. Harold, why do you want to be sheriff?
I've been on the sidelines since I've retired, and I've looked back at how things have developed throughout the United States and Indiana and locally, and I just believe that I want put back in the game. I want to use all that training that I have received over the 35 years of my total law enforcement career, everything from administration to dealing with people to cultural diversity and problem solving, mitigation, able to try to solve mitigation before it gets to mitigation, risk management, and I just feel like I have a whole lot still to offer my community.
Okay. So you've been away from the Sheriff's Department since 2015?
November of 2015 is when I retired, yes.
So in the last 6.5 years, how do you feel the department has performed?
Overall, it's been in two administrations in that length of time, or the tail end of one and the beginning of another. Overall, the traditions are still there. I'm not convinced that the direction that it's going now is where I would like to see it go to adapt and or handle the future of what I perceive as coming to the Kokomo area with a lot of outside influence from some large metropolitan areas. It's already gave us a large amount of influence anyway, and I just want to be the one in charge. I want the ball.
So, if elected, how would you change the department?
I'm not necessarily sure that it needs changing, as maybe modified, retweaked, a new maybe direction. Because as sheriff, when you're taking over, you only have 3 appointed positions that you can replace once you go in there. And with those 3, obviously one of them being over in the jail, and then one's your chief deputy, and then now one of them is the chief administrative assistant that used to be the chief matron. I believe that those 3 positions are performing very admirably under the leadership that they are presently working under and for. I just believe that I can take at least 2 of those positions under a different direction. And it's not even that I want to replace them, because I believe they have their thumb on the pulse of what's going on as well. I would just offer a different leadership and a different leadership style from what the department has been used to now for several years.
Okay. So how would you characterize your management style then?
I'm very risk management oriented. I'd love to head off litigation before it becomes litigation. I'm very policy and procedure driven. I'm very testing and evaluation, research and development driven. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, but I do believe you can make it spin faster if that makes sense. I believe in getting super involved with the community. I am involved in a plethora of civic organizations that have led me to be able to keep my thumb on the pulse of this town, this community, and the 2 anchoring communities on both ends with Greentown and Rushville. When I left the sheriff's department, I soon got hired on out at Green Acres as an assistant manager, and within months I was offered the operations director's job there. And we have totally turned that golf course, the clubhouse, the facility, totally around. And I believe a lot of that had to do in part with my leadership capabilities. And that was a sharp contrast from paramilitary law enforcement to civilian world trying to make a business go, especially during a COVID era.
Sure.
And I'm proud of that.
So I'll track back slightly. You mentioned out-of-town influence on, I'm assuming, public safety. Do you feel like Howard County is less safe than it was, say, 6 years ago, 4 years ago? Do you feel like crime is on the rise, that people are more at risk?
I do believe that crime is on the rise. I believe our law enforcement agencies here in this community are doing a very good job. I just believe that with me at the helm of the sheriff's department, I can make it even safer. I've been reviewing a lot of research, been doing a lot of research on trying to get the guns off the streets and how we could pursue that, all the way from spot shots like they're using down in Indianapolis and other large communities. Could we put those even in schools to alert public safety even quicker if there was a discharge of a firearm in or around a school area or zone, to actual plainclothes and uniformed officers being trained in specifically how to respond better to shots fired? Do we need to look harder for that shell casing? Do we need to look harder for that slug? Can we find any of those and help track back and trace back to those weapons or the perpetrators that are discharging those weapons? There's hardly a night goes by that there's not shots fired in or around our community anymore. And I do believe that is one aspect that I really want to target.
All right. Just one final question for the person who might be on the fence here. Is going to pull a Republican ticket in the spring. What should they keep in mind as they go to the polls that will cause them to vote for you?
I started pulling Republican tickets in 2014. Prior to that, I was a Democrat, but I was a moderate Democrat. But I started pulling Republican tickets in 2014. So you could say I'm a new Republican. I believe in the grand old party, but I also know that the Republican Party is changing. We are getting a huge amount of people crossing over from Democrat side, especially the last election and this election. And I believe there's a lot of independents out there that are still a little bit on the fence. But I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get a constitutional believing, patriotic, hard charging sheriff in that office that will be involved in traffic stops, backups, police reporting, taking reports, and very, very visible in your community. When you go up to somebody and ask them who the sheriff is, that name of that sheriff better roll off their tongue, because if you don't know who the sheriff is, he or she is not making a big enough splash. That will not be an issue in my administration.
All right, very good. So there you have it. Harold Vincent, he's running on the Republican ticket in the primary for Howard County Sheriff. Thanks for your time, Harold.
Thank you very much, Pat.
And this is the Kokomo Lantern. I'm Patrick Muncy. Thanks for tuning in.